What up, YouTube? It's your boy Rzd Reacts, aka Jus Raised, and today we got the Tokyo Colony 1 Part 3 episode Raised review. Let's just get into it, cause bruh, this episode, absolute cinema. I'm not gonna hold you. Like I said, I know some stuff that happens in the manga, like certain fights, certain plot points, but I haven't read the manga. So I don't know how we get to those plot points in certain parts, certain fights. So to see this, I knew Yuji and Higuruma fought. I ain't know it finna look like this. I ain't know it finna go this way. Bruh, first of all, Higuruma out the gate hitting domain expansion was crazy. Crazy. Puts him in this like mock trial area with Judge Man, his curse technique, pretty much putting Yuji on trial. First it was for some Palinko bar. I don't really know what a Palinko bar is, but apparently you can't be underage to go in there. So it's just like anytime he puts somebody on trial, the Judge Man provides him with evidence that he doesn't reveal until it's his turn to go. And so first the person being accused gets to either 1, admit guilt, 2, deny it and lie and risk being found out by the evidence, or give like some sort of misdirection. And the 3 things that Yuji thought of was to deny it, admit it, or his misdirect was more so to be like, oh, I just ran in there to use the bathroom, you feel me? And of course he failed. He goes with the misdirect and he fails. And so he gets a consequence for failing his misdirect. Higuruma presents the evidence and says that based upon this evidence, we can prove we can pretty much disregard the rest of his story as false. And pretty much it's a picture of him at the cash exchange, and he was just like, all you had to do was say you didn't recognize the Palinko bar, and that misdirect would have saved him. So unfortunately, he has to face a consequence where Judge Man confiscates his ability to use cursed energy, especially since he doesn't know how to use his curse technique yet. So normally it'll snatch the curse technique, but since he don't know how to use it yet, it snatches his ability to use cursed energy. And then we proceed to see some of the smoothest hands given this season. Bruh. First of all, the fights this season, let me just say that the fights this season have been on another freaking level, bro. Between Yuta and Yuji, Naoya and Choso, freaking Maki and the whole Zenin clan, and now we got Yuji and Higuruma. Hands galore. This man, it looks like he disbanded his domain expansion because they end up back in the same room that they started in, and he turns his gavel. He's able to manipulate the size, length, and ability of his gavel. He could throw it. He uses it like a long hammer. Like he was going crazy on Yuji with the hammer, bro. That joint was absolute cinema. It was absolute cinema. That joint went crazy, bro. I mean, just throwing hands. And of course, Yuji, being a product of Kenjaku, has abnormally large physical prowess. And so he was tanking the hits, he was blocking, he was dodging, he was moving fast, getting out of the way, he was trying to counterattack and this, that, and the third. And he was surviving for a little bit, and even went up to the rafters of the building. Higuruma pulled that down with the hammer, started going crazy, and then he tried to hit him with a hammer technique to crush him. Yuji caught that joint off just pure muscle, caught that joint and was fading under the weight of it. And then it came to his mind. He was like, yo, let me see if I can ask for a retrial. So he asked for a retrial, and ends up putting them back in the same little mock trial setting, and he figures out pretty much he did it on a whim, but it ended up working to his favor because it allowed him the opportunity, as long as the person doesn't admit guilt, they can ask for at least 2 more retrials, and Judgment can't, the Judgment technique can't refuse him. And so he asked for a retrial. Judgment calls out what he's accused of this time, and it's for mass murder at Shibuya and the whole Shibuya incident. Yuji immediately says, "Oh yeah, I did that. I'm not going to deny it either." Higuruma looks dumbfounded. Judgment is like, "All right, well, death penalty." Death penalty. He dropped this on your head. So with him getting the death penalty, Higuruma changes his gavel into the executioner sword, which if anybody who's cut with the executioner sword automatically dies. And so now we got Higuruma and Yuji scrapping. Yuji's trying to run away from him, trying to find like a opportunity where he can get a counterattack in and counterpunch him. And Higuruma, the whole time he's in his head about the whole situation. We see a flashback of him being asked to become a judge. We also saw some flashbacks earlier in the episode of him going through the process of becoming a lawyer and passing the bar and all that stuff. Head of his class, people labeled him a genius, all this stuff, which is kind of evident by the way he's handling himself throughout this entire fight. And we see him being asked to be a judge. He's just like, "Nah, I'm not really in this for promotion, so I'm a fade off of that." But he knows about being empathetic with victims. He knows about being empathetic with criminals. And he's just like, the whole time in his head while he fighting Yuji, he's like, "Yo, why did you admit guilt? The evidence that Judgment presented was that it wasn't your fault. That you were not guilty of the charges against mass murder in Shibuya because it was Sukuna who did it. And you didn't willfully surrender yourself to his control. They force-fed you 15 fingers and Sukuna just took over." And he was just like, "If you wouldn't have admitted guilt, I wouldn't have had to kill you." Now, mind you, he goes into for the final strike. Yuji's coming with a counter punch. And before he can get to Yuji with the executioner sword, he disbands his whole technique. Yuji hits him with one of the cleanest Dragon Ball Z-esque gut punches and launches him across the room. And he was like, "Hey, why'd you disband your technique?" And he was just like, "Because you were innocent, bro. Like, the evidence showed this, that, and the third." He just went down the whole spiel. And then Yuji was like, "Yeah, I get all that, but I'm still guilty because I wasn't weak enough to stop. I'm still guilty because I was too weak to stop what was happening." And Higuruma was like, "Yo, I feel that. Respect. But I couldn't end your life." You know what I mean? Just based off of the fact that you were truly innocent and weren't in control of your faculties at that time. And then we pretty much have the end of the episode. That's pretty much the end of the episode. Absolute cinema, man. 10 out of 10 on this particular episode. 10 out of 10. The flashbacks were hitting. The action was hitting. The story throughout this episode was hitting. Just, like I said, JJK be having some of the randomest, dopest, and deepest conversations mid-fight, and this was no exception. Bruh, the dialogue between Higuruma, between his self-reflection and him talking to Yuji, and the dialogue between Yuji talking to himself and talking to Higuruma, and the whole courtroom scene, like, it was just absolute cinema, man. Absolute cinema. I know I keep doing it, but that's just what it is. Absolute cinema. Like, it was crazy, bro. It was crazy. Definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. That's my rating for this particular episode. Let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite part of this episode, and what do you rate it? Do you agree with my rating that it was a 10 out of 10, that it was absolute cinema? Or do you feel like it was mid? If I feel like if you don't rate it a 10 out of 10, you're wrong. But that's just me. I can maybe accept a 9. But it was peak. It was peak. Absolute cinema. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. So that way you can be notified anytime we drop a new video on the channel. And don't forget, it's free soul to the soul free. Let's get it.